very much.
How's your winter been so far?
I'm sorry.
How's the winter been so far?
You know, not so bad. We haven't had to travel, which we like a lot this year. And traveling goes to Chicago. And the job has to travel a little bit. It's been good, 5 months. I've got people who I
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Nice to see all of you and have you here together with us, both in the sanctuary and those that are joining us online. I will be right back. I'm going to grab a prayer book. Nice to see you all, and we'll go ahead and begin our service this evening on page 11 with Ki Eshmera Shabbat. Ki Eshmera Shabbat El Yishmereni. Ki Eshmera Shabbat El Yishmereni. It's an honor to call up Lil Toplinski to light our Shabbat candles this evening. Lil, you bring such light to our community. We love having you as a volunteer at Shalom, and we'd love to have you bring light to our Shabbat and bring in the light of Shabbat with us this evening. We are on pages 3 and 2.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
We'll chant together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Thank you. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Lil. We will turn to page 14. And we will read responsively. Sing to Adonai a new song. Sing to Adonai all the earth. Sing to Adonai, bless God's name. Proclaim God's victory day after day. Tell of God's glory among the nations, God's wondrous deeds among all peoples. For Adonai is great and much acclaimed. God is held in awe by all divine beings. All the gods of the peoples are mere idols. But Adonai made the heavens. Glory and majesty are before God. Strength and splendor are in God's temple. Let the heavens rejoice and the earth exult. Let the sea and all within it thunder. The fields and everything in them exult. Then shall all the trees of the forest shout for joy at the presence of Adonai, for God is coming to rule the earth. God will rule the world justly and its peoples in faithfulness. We turn to page 20 for Lecha Dodi as we welcome in the Shabbat bride. I invite you to close your eyes and take a deep breath in and let it out. And one more deep breath in and let it out. We'll welcome in Shabbat and welcome in the Sabbath bride and welcome in the peace of Shabbat. With Lecha Dodi, we'll do verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And when we get to verse 9, Boi v'shalom, we'll rise and turn to the entrance of our synagogue, and then we'll turn for Lecha Dodi, we'll return to our seats. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. 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 Shamor v'zachor b'dibur achad, Ishmi'anu Elam yuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad. L'shemo tiferet v'litila lecha Dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki hi mekor habracha, merosh mikadem nesucha. Sof ma'aseh b'machshava tchila lecha Dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, kiva orech kumiori, uri shir daberi, kivod Adonai alich migla lecha Dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'v'tzola, toch emunei am segula. Boi chala, Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. We turn to page 24. As we welcomed in the Sabbath bride, so too with peace we welcome in the ministering angels with Shalom Aleichem. It's said that there are 2 angels that go with each person from the synagogue home to help them bring in Shabbat, to bring that peace that they found, hopefully in the sanctuary, bring that hopefully home with them to reside with them for the duration of Shabbat. So we welcome in these ministering angels of peace. We'll read responsively on page 24. Peace be to you, O ministering angels, messengers of the Most High. Majesty of majesties, Holy One of blessing. Enter in peace, O messengers of peace, angels of the Most High. Majesty of majesties, Holy One of blessing. Bless me with peace, O messengers of peace, angels of the Most High. Majesty of majesties, Holy One of blessing. Depart in peace, O messengers of peace, angels of the Most High. Majesty of majesties, Holy One of blessing. We turn to page 26 for Chatzi Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divrachute v'yamlich malchute, v'chayechon u'vyomechon u'chayetecho beit Yisrael, bagala bagala u'bizman kariv v'yimeru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach, Le'olam olam me'almaya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitbar, V'yitramam, V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, V'yitalev, V'yitalal, Shemei Dekudasha Barechu, La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'nechemata, Tamiran be'alma, Vehimeru, amen. We'll read responsively on page 27. Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days, lest my day be today as the one before, lest routine set my ways. We rise for our call to worship the Baruch Hu on page 28. Yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai, Hamevorach. Baruch Adonai, Hamevorach, Hamevorach, Le'olam va'ed. We continue with Ma'ariv Aravim, thanking God for bringing on the evening, for putting the moon and the stars in their course in the heavens. We'll read together on page 30, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro Ma'ariv Aravim, bechokma poteach she'arim, uvitvuna meshane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, Umsader et hakochavim b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono. Borei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or. Uma'avir yom umevi layla umavdil ben yom uvein layla. Adonai tziva'ot shemo. El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai. Hama'ariv Aravim. We turn to page 33 for Ahavat Olam, speaking of God's everlasting love for the people of Israel. And we'll read responsively at the bottom of the page. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol. All these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. We'll continue with the watchword of our faith, the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. You may be seated. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol meotecha v'hayu advarim ha'ela asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'derech uv'shachpecha uv'kumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uv'isharecha leman tizkeru v'asitem hekol mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim le'elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem emet. We turn to page 39 and we'll read responsively just before we sing Mi Chamocha together, the prayer of freedom that our ancestors sang as they crossed from slavery and bondage in Egypt to the other side of the Sea of Reeds to freedom to become their own people. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. We turn to page 40 for Mi Chamocha. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar v'kodesh, nora tehilot osef ala, nora tehilot osef ala. Malchutecha ra'u v'necha, pokei hayam lifnei Moshe Miriam, Sa'eli anu ve'amru Adonai imloch le'olam va'ad Adonai imloch le'olam va'ad. We turn to page 43 for Hashkivenu. This is a prayer that's traditionally said at nighttime, a time of uncertainty for our ancestors and still a time of uncertainty for many of us today. We ask for God's guidance, for God to protect us through the night, to provide a sukkot shlomecha, a shelter of peace over all of us, over all Israel, and over all the world. We read these words together at the top of the page. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. And bringing in Shabbat Oneg, Shabbat Joy, we'll continue with Vishamru on page 44. Let's hear it with all of your vim and vigor this evening. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam Bein uvein b'nei Yisrael Oti le'olam V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam Uvayom hashvi Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. We rise for the tefillah on page 46. Adonai sifatai tiftachu fi agid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei HaKol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot v'imahot, U'mevi Gula Livnei v'neihem, Leman Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshiach u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah Rav le'Hoshia, Mashiv haruach u'morid ha'gashem, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim v'rofech cholim, Umatir hasurim, Kayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha bal gevurot, Umido melech, Melech memit umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'nemanata l'chayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kdoshim b'chol yom yahalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. You may be seated. We'll continue on page 55. At the top, we'll read responsively. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat. We turn to page 57 for Ritzeh. Ritzeh Adonai Eloheinu ba'amcha Yisrael, u'tefilatam ba'ahava tekabel, u'tehi l'ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael amecha. We read together, Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer, wherever we live, wherever we seek you. In this land, in Zion restored, in all lands, you are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. We turn to page 59 for Hoda'ah prayer, our prayer of thanksgiving. We have a lot to be grateful for right now as we near the end of our year, our last Shabbat together here in the sanctuary and online, all of us together. So let's read at the top of page 59. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of our soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot. We turn to page 60 for our prayer for peace, Shalom Rav, asking for peace for us and for all Israel. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Laolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Laolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim laolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim laolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael bechol eit uvechol shah bishlomecha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim laolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim laolam. Tasim laolam. Tasim laolam. Just as we have these words of Shalom Rav, of Shalom, of peace on our lips, we turn to the Misha Beirach, a prayer asking for Refuah Shlema, complete healing. The word Shalom and the word Shalem come from the same root. We're asking for peace and granting a fullness of healing. We're asking for peace for people's bodies, for their spirits, for their souls, a full healing. Our congregation is thinking of Shandol Bat Frida Malka, Julie Borikoff, Margot Raz, Carol Dubin, Sharon Rotman, Steve Toplinski, Esther Cohen, Lisa Furstad, Hachazan Sarah Rachel Bat Yocheved Alexander, Wendy Salzberg, Steve Plotkin, Avram Ben Naftali, Emma and Max, Doug Cruz, Carol Rovner, David Goldstein, Marilyn Harmon, Barry Bursack, Reza Tzvia Batshena Etta, Mary Frankowitz, Sophia Rubenstein, Ilana Himmelfarb, Avraham Batfrida, Marla Chakowski, Michael Sachek, David Rotter, Natalie Cohen, Teresa Drews, Yona Neri Ben Avraham Vasara, Keith Mandel, Jamie Creaman, Ela Batnatan Vashoshana, Mark Cook, Luke Roberts, Cooper Roberts, Jason Roberts, Keely Roberts, Mark Berlin, Dr. Susie Mendelson, Audrey Rubin, Josh Bolay, Michaela Helen Berg, Julie Austin, Jay Stearns, Marion Newman, Chris Gould, Yaakov Ben Alta, Howard Messerman, Michal Stroud, Lisa Feel, Susan Garrison, Henya Fetterman, Yehuda Ben Avraham Vasara, John Schnapp, Shana Leah Bat Yehudit, and Bernie Kaufman. If there are loved ones whom you are thinking of who are in need of a refuat hanefesh or refuat haguf, a healing of body and a healing of soul, I invite you to hold them in your hearts at this time as we turn to page 253 for Misha Berach. Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Berach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. With those words of healing echoing in our minds, we take a moment now for silent meditation. Yehiyu leratzon imrefi v'hegyon libi lefanecha Adonai tzuri Adonai Virgo Ali, Virgo Ali. A long time ago, in a village far away, there was a woman named Rachel who had many riches. She loved to be with her community. All her life, they were there for her. They ate meals and sang songs and had so much fun together. They helped her when she was sad, and they were happy when she was happy. She wondered what gift she could possibly share with them that would bring everyone together. Every day, Rachel walked around the village, and all the townspeople would smile and say hello to her as she passed by. She walked by the bakery, and smelling the warm, fresh bread and sweet treats, the baker popped his head out to say hello and offer her a fresh muffin. Then she walked past the music shop, where she could hear all of the children practicing their song, and they would come out into the street just to share the newest rendition with her and play their hearts out. And after that, she walked by the coffee shop, where she could smell the coffee, and the shop owner waved her over to talk for a few minutes and gave her a cup of coffee to share as they chatted. As she walked through the park, sipping her coffee, she saw a family that were playing with their dog. The dog ran over to her and wagged its tail and nudged Rachel's leg until she reached down to pat it. The family smiled and said hello, and then they invited her with them to the park later that night to light Shabbat candles. Much later that night, after spending Shabbat with this family in the park, Rachel laid down to go to sleep. But before she drifted off, she thought about her wonderful community and prayed to God, sharing just how thankful she was for all of them. She thought about what gift she could give them to tell them just how much they meant to her. It had to be something that brought all of them together. That night, she dreamed about the townspeople. She saw them sitting in a large, beautiful room with Shabbat candles glowing on a small table, and she heard them singing the loveliest Shabbat songs. The townspeople had big smiles on their faces as they talked and laughed and danced and celebrated Shabbat. After a little while, Rachel watched them walk into another room. There were the most gorgeous stained glass windows she had ever seen. At the front of the room was a hand-carved wooden ark. Carved into the front were Noah's Ark with all of the animals, Joseph and his coat of many colors, and Moses raising up his staff to part the sea of reeds. She watched as the townspeople prayed in this beautiful space. When she woke up, Rachel knew just what gift she would share with her community. She would build them a beautiful synagogue to pray and celebrate the holidays and share in each other's lives. No one saw the plans for the building until it was finished. When people came for the first time, they oohed and awed at the grandeur of the building. Someone asked her, "Where are the lamps? I only see one tiny light by the ark. Surely that is not enough to fill the rooms. How will the building be lit?" Rachel smiled and pointed to the brackets all along the synagogue's walls. Then she gave each family a lamp to bring with them every time they came to the synagogue. "Each time you come here," she said, "you will light part of the synagogue, just as you give your light to our community. This is to remind you that whenever you come here, especially when our community needs you, a part of God's house lights up." This story shows us just how important Jewish community is, how being with one another and sharing in the joys and in the difficult times is so important and one of the most wonderful things we could ask for. It shows us just how special our community can be when we are together with one another. We are a part of the light of the holy community that we share in, and when we are together, we shine the brightest. Shabbat Shalom. We will begin to conclude our worship this evening with Aleinu on page 282, and it's an honor to call up David and Abby Nash as our ark openers this evening. We rise together for Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'teit gedula liotzer breshit, shalo asanu k'goyei haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shalo sam chalkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, Umishtachavim umodim, Lifnei melech, Malchei hamlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu, V'ne'emar, V'haya Adonai, L'melech al kol haaretz, V'yom hahu, V'yom hahu, Yiyeh Adonai echad, U'shemo, You may be seated. At this time, our thoughts turn to those who are no longer with us. And though their physical presence is no longer of this earth, we hold them in our hearts and in our minds. They guide us each and every day. We are sad to let you know of the death of Otto Feller, a beloved member. His private funeral will be held later next week. And those whose lives we are commemorating during the period of Shiva of Bill Appel, and those during the period of Shloshim of Ronnie Blecker, Marcy Brooks, Sterna Sarah Fetterman, Frank Galdino, Audrey Kahn, Todd Mitchell Kagelman, Alfred Lubar, Barry Marcus, and Marvin Tick. And those dear ones who passed at this time in years past, Ilome Berkovitz, Hannah Berman, Lori Blumenfeld, Arthur Blumenthal, Marion Brown, Perlan Bruskin, Charles Cohen, Joanne Essler, Max Fishman, Morton Friedland, Eileen Gossman, Morris Green, Morris Grossman, Joseph Himes, Joyzel Y. Howards, Maurice F. Kippen, Harvey R. Kippen, Isaac Kippen, June Coffer Kraus, Philip Kurzer, Maurice Lerner, Herman Levin, Robert Levenauer, Esther Lubar, Benedict Lubell, Herbert Maselman, Carl Maines, Daniel Margolis, Esther Matras, Jacob Meister, John B. Moser, Herbert A. Oxman, Goldie Pinsky, Stanford Stan Podell, Pearl Rubin, Maxine Peggy Sadoff, Eugene Sadoff, Milton Sattel, Cecilia M. Schiffman, Mel Schnoll, Isidore Schwartz, Ruth Silberman, Charles Steiner, Louis Stern, Arthur Toplinski, Jeanette Weber, Edward Weber, Sally Weisbush, Jack Weiss, Arlene Wertheim, and Julius Zach. If there are loved ones whom you are thinking of that have passed on, or if there are names that I have that should be pronounced differently than I pronounce them, please do share them with us as my eyes meet yours. In addition to those loved ones we hold in our hearts, we also think of the 6 million who perished during the Holocaust, as well as those who have died due to acts of war and terror around the globe, as well as those who have died due to the pandemic, as well as those who no longer have anyone to say Kaddish for them. We turn to these sacred words of Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish, on page 294. We rise as a community to say them together. Yit gadal vid kadash me rabba, be'alma divra chirute v'amlich malchute, v'chayechon uvyomachon uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'gala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehe shmei rabba mevarach le'olam u'almei almaya, yit barach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, Vit hadar, vit ale, vit halal, shemei dekudasha barichu. Le'ela minkol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing, and together we say, amen. You may be seated, and it's a joy to call up the president of our congregation, Brent Arnold, to read the announcements for the last time in 2022.
Thank you, Rabbi, and thanks for leading us so beautifully in prayers tonight and also acting as the cantor. So kind of a one-woman show tonight, but I appreciate that very much. And Shabbat Shalom to our congregants. I hope you all had a really nice Hanukkah this year. It was really nice to see everyone here last week with everybody's menorah lit up so beautifully. The dinner and the oneg last week were also really great. Thank you so much to Natasha for her excellent work in our kitchen. I really enjoyed celebrating again with our Shalom community. Although this has been a little quieter of a week, which isn't a bad thing, we have a lot more scheduled for January. It starts on January 7th with a family movie night at 5 p.m. We will be featuring the movie DC League of Super Pets. Come and enjoy the movie, the popcorn, and the candy too. A reminder that there's still no religious school or Hebrew school this week. But we are excited for all the kids to return on Sunday, January 8th, with a pancake breakfast. It sounds delicious. On January 10th, at 2 o'clock, our very own Ben Marins, who is here tonight, is doing a presentation for our congregants on consumer protection. So come learn all the ins and outs of how you can stay protected from scams. Also on Sunday, January 15th at 10 o'clock in the morning, our Voices for Justice Committee will be hosting a panel discussion on the intersection between racism and anti-Semitism. The panel of speakers will include Dr. Steve Moffick, Lisa Jones from Micah, and Chelsea Cross from EDOT. Also, the 6th and 7th graders will be going on a class overnight retreat at Camp Olin St. Ruby. This is scheduled for January 13th and 14th. Sounds like a lot of fun, too. Remember, there's always our Saturday Torah study at 9 o'clock and our Shabbat services at 10 o'clock with a community lunch after the service. On Tuesday nights is also our adult education classes, and Minyan is every weeknight at 5:45 p.m. Lots of good stuff for everyone to participate in. Lastly, I want to make a quick reminder that as 2022 comes to an end, please Please keep Congregation Shalom in mind as you make your year-end contributions. We are incredibly grateful for all of your generous support. Feel free to make a contribution in person, or you can do it online as well. I hope the year 2023 brings you all and our entire community much health and happiness. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. We will conclude with our Kiddush on page 5, if everyone will rise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit. Ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh, zecher litziat Mitzrayim. Ki vanu v'charta, ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim, ve'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Amen. L'chaim. A nice vintage. We will conclude with our concluding hymn this evening will be Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, and may 2023 be a year of health, happiness, and full of light with our community together.